pollen pistil interaction. Pollen pistil interaction. In this one, generally pollen transfer means the transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of same flower or different flower born on different plants or same plant. See, generally here already everybody knows that we have discussed many times. See, like this way stigma will be there. Here, this is stamens. So here, this is. Okay, transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of a flower is called pollen transfer. It does not guarantee that transferring pollen grains are always right type of pollen grains will land on the stigma. Okay, whatever may be the pollen grains are transferred, those pollen grains are not guarantee. It does not guarantee that transferring pollen grains from anther to the stigma is always right type or compatible type of pollen grains will land on the stigma. Often there is a chances to land wrong type of pollen grains, wrong type of pollen grains. So incompatible pollen grains also there is a chances to land on the stigma. That is what here I am saying. Okay, so 99%, 9 point right type pollen grains will land on the stigma. But in some cases, often there is a wrong type. Wrong type means what? Incompatible. Incompatible means what? So not related to the same species. Incompatible pollen grains also there is a chances to land on stigma. So that pollen pistil interaction is very essential for the pistil. Pollen pistil interaction is pollen pistil interaction is very essential for the pistil. For the pistil or carpel. For the pistil or carpel. Pollen pistil interaction is very essential for the pistil and carpel. So in this interaction, pollen pistil interaction is very essential for the pistil to accept the pollens. So that means what? This is the carpel or pistil. This pistil accept. First it will monitor pollen pistil interaction. Whatever may be the pollen grains are landing on that, whether those are right type or wrong type, it will monitor. That is only pollen pistil interaction is very essential for the pistil to accept the pollen grain cell. So this is a pistil. This pistil must be accept the pollen grains. How it will accept? If right type of pollen grains, right type also called compatible. If compatible pollen grains are landed on the stigma, compatible pollen grains are landed on the stigma, then the pistil accept the pollen grains and allow them to germinate and produces pollen tube towards ovule. Okay, so that is if right type or compatible pollen grains are land on the stigma, then the process is initiated. So if wrong type, wrong or incompatible pollen grains are landed on the stigma, incompatible, wrong type, not related to same species, any other species, any other irrelevant species pollen grains, there is a chances. So if wrong pollen grains are landed on the stigma, this pistil does not accept those pollen grains and inhibits, stops pollen germination, pollen tube growth. Okay, that's all. So that is. So pollen pistil interaction is depends upon chemical components of the pollen grains. Chemical components of the pollen grains. So its pistil interaction is mainly due to the chemical composition of the pollen grains. So these chemicals will examine by the pistil. If those chemicals are suitable, then the pistil accept them for further processes. If those are not matched, mismatching, incompatible, then it does not allow them to germinate on stigma. This is called pollen pistil interaction. Okay, so this is also very important. Okay, 3 marks topic. It is very easy. So up to now, whatever I said, those points you have to write. So generally, for every question in science, in examination, if you draw diagrams and if you mention, so it is anther, it can release pollen grains and landed to the stigma, it is a stigma. Like that, if you mention diagrams on your own, it is very good for your marks. Okay, that's all. Next topic. See here, after pollination, after successful landing on the stigma, the pollen grains undergoes various kinds of changes. Those changes are nothing but pollen germination. So before discussing about pollen germination, here we have to see a small diagram. Okay, see that diagram. So this is the diagram. Okay, see, when the pollen grains, see here, after successful pollination, the pollen grains starts or begins to germinate. Okay, so if stigma receptive, if stigma is receptive, see here, already we discussed that the stigma should be receptive, stigma and anther receptive. When anther receptive, then pollination occurs. Okay, so at the same time, stigma also should be receptive. Receptive means what? It should be matured. It must be ready to germinate. So when this style and stigma is receptive, that only I am saying, if stigma is receptive, then this stigma is ready to accept the pollen grains. Okay, so whatever maybe the pollen grains are landed on the stigma, if those are compatible, then the pollen begins to germinate. That is the first point. If the stigma is receptive and the whatever maybe the pollen grains are landed on the stigma, if those are compatible, then the pollen grains begins to germinate. See here, generally first when pollen grains are landed, Like this way, they will be. Like that. Pollen grains are like this only appeared. When the pollen grains are landed on the stigma, they appear like this way. So this condition we will have a look on laboratory. One germination topic is there, pollen germination, pollen tube growth on the stigma. That we will do one experiment in biology. It is very important experiment for about 5 marks. At that time, so through compound microscope, you will have a look on these events. Okay, that's all. So like this way, the pollen grains are appeared. If these pollen grains are compatible, compatible means what? If those are belongs to the same species, then the pollen grains begins to germinate. That is the first point. Second point. So already we discussed that. What is that? It is the pollen grain. So outermost part is thick. It has often spinous outgrowth. It has often spinous outgrowth. Okay. Next here, any part of pollen grain, there is absent or thin. Exine is absent or thin. That is called germ pore. This is called germ pore. That is already we discussed. Okay. So first, outermost part is exine, inner part is intine. That is also we discussed. First, the intine along with its contents, it emerges out from the germ pore, come out from the germ pore. That is called pollen tube, Okay, see, the intine, inner thinnest part is intine. Intine along with its cytoplasmic contents are emerge out, come out from the germ pore. Whatever may be, come out from the germ pore. This is called pollen tube. This is what here happens, like this way, pollen tube, like this way, pollen tube, like this way, pollen tube. Almost all the species, almost all the pollen grains will germinate, but only one pollen tube, only one pollen grain will take upper hand on remaining pollen grains. So only one will reach to the ovule. Rest of the pollen grains are degenerate. Okay, so this is like this way, gradually germinated. Okay, that's all. That is the second point. The intine along with its contents emerge out. Emerge means come out from germ pore as cytoplasmic extension. That is called pollen tube. The pollen tube growth occurs towards ovule. Towards the ovule. That is the second statement. Third statement. Generally here, pollen tube growth occurs by the chemical components. Chemical components. What are those chemical components? Calcium, boron, so pollen tube growth occurs on the stigma by the chemical components such as calcium, boron, inositol, chemical complex. This is called, this pollen tube growth is called positively chemotropic. Positively chemotropic and negatively aerotropic. See, so positively chemotropic means what? Chemotropic, nothing but chemicals. Chemicals are helps to the pollen tube in positive manner. So this pollen tube gradually starts growing with the help of chemicals. So that those chemicals are called positively chemotropic. Negatively aerotropic. Negatively aerotropic means what? So the pollen tube grows away from the air. Air will grow move like that, blow like that, against them, pollen tube grows. That's why it is called negatively aerotropic. Negatively aerotropic. Okay, that's all. Next, you see, generally, this stigma secretes a kind of a sucrose solution. See here, calcium boron inositol, sugar complex. Here, sugar, this is sugar complex. So sugar means sucrose. Sucrose is secreted by the stigma. That sucrose break down the epidermal tissues of the stigma. Epidermal tissue of the stigma and acts as stimulus. Sucrose acts as pollen tube stimulus. Okay, so this sucrose helps to grow the pollen tube towards ovule. Already first PUC we discussed that. Again, it is a repetition. Okay, that's all. That is about sucrose solution. Generally, the stigma also secretes various kinds of enzymes. See, not a stigma. So the growing pollen tube, little bit corrected. Pollen tube. The pollen tube secretes various types of enzymes. Those enzymes helps to digest the epidermal tissue of the stigma, style, etc. Okay, so the pollen tube secretes various kinds of enzymes. Those enzymes digest epidermal tissue of the stigma, style, and enables the pollen tube growth towards the ovule. Enable the pollen tube growth towards the ovule. That is the fourth statement. Fifth statement. As we already discussed that in over 60% of the angiosperms, pollen grains are shed at two-celled stage. That is, one is vegetative nucleus. Another one is generative nucleus. See, like this way. It is vegetative. It is generative. Already about that explanation we have seen. Over 60% of the angiosperms, the pollen grains are shed at two-celled stage. Okay, so that is vegetative cell, generative cells. In some rest of the 40% of the species, this generative nucleus undergoes mitosis divisions and produces two haploid male gametes. Then totally 3 cells. It is however 1, 2, 3. In 60% of the angiosperms, the pollen grains are shed at two-celled stage. In rest of the species, the pollen grains are shed at three-celled stage. Three-celled stage means what? How does it? Generative nucleus, vegetative nucleus, generative nucleus. So this vegetative nucleus disintegrates through pollen tube. Disintegrates. Generative nucleus undergoes mitosis divisions and gives two haploid nucleus. Those two haploid nucleus is called male gametes. That's why pollen grains are known as male gametophyte. At the beginning of the class only we discussed this. Okay, that's so that is okay. So the pollen tube is growing through style, growing. Yes. The pollen tube growth continuously takes place and reach it to the ovule through a small pore. That pore is called, this is the pore, microvilli. pile. Through the micropyle, pollen tube enters the ovule. So automatically, two male gametes also here reached. Here two male gametes will be there. Two male gametes. Those two male gametes also here will be weighted. It's not a new topic. So out of two male gametes, one male gamete. So see first. Here the pollen tube enters into one of the synergids. Inside of the ovule, what was there? Female gametophyte is there. That is called embryo sac. So this pollen tube is entered into one of the synergids. In the synergids, there is a finger-shaped structures are called filiform. This is called filiform apparatus. This filiform apparatus guides the pollen tube how to enter inside the embryo sac. So here, one male gamete, here see, one male gamete is fuses with egg haploid. So this is called egg, already we discussed. So one male gamete, it is male gamete fused with egg cell. It is a haploid, haploid fused. One male gamete fused with egg cell where it is located in the embryo sac. Here this egg cell diploid zygote is formed. Diploid zygote is formed. Next, one male gamete is finished and one more male gamete is present. That is one more male gamete. One more male gamete. That one more male gamete, it is combines with secondary nucleus. It is called haploid. When embryo sac formed, two haploid nuclei are formed. Those two haploid nuclei is called polar nuclei. When embryo sac matured, we will call them as secondary nucleus because these two are fused. Initial days of the embryo sac, those polar nuclei is separated. When the embryo sac is matured, both are unite. Then it is called secondary nucleus. So the secondary nucleus and haploid, one more male gamete, both are fused together and forms primary endosperm nucleus. It is triploid nucleus. It is triploid. It is triploid condition. Triploid means what? Three haploid nuclei. See, one male gamete, secondary nucleus. These are originally haploid. When these are unite, it becomes secondary. Then triploid. It is called triple fusion. Triple fusion occurs in embryo sac. It is 2 marks definition. Very, very important. Without this question paper won't be given. That much important. So primary endosperm nucleus, primary endosperm nucleus undergoes various changes, gradually turn to be endosperm, triploid endosperm. This is what occurs in flowering plants, angiosperms. Okay. So what is the triple fusion? Where does it occurs? What is the importance? Question. So triple fusion means what? Fusion of haploid male gamete and diploid secondary nucleus is called triple fusion. Where does it occurs? It occurs in embryo sac. What is the importance of triple fusion? So as a result of triple fusion, triploid state of endosperm, primary endosperm nucleus is formed. This primary endosperm nucleus gradually turns to the endosperm. The endosperm stores the food material in some of the seeds. Okay, that is the importance. Okay, that is the explanation about Pollen germination. Pollen germination. This diagram is important. For 5 marks, pollen germination. Describe briefly how pollen germination takes place on stigma with the diagrammatic explanation. If this question comes, we have to write these are all the points along with the diagrammatic representation. It is very easy also. So first PUC also, I said in first PUC also it was covered. Keeping in second year view, I have given this total explanation in first PUC only. If you studied this topic in first PUC, it becomes easy. In first PUC, it does not have that much importance, but in second PUC, it has very importance. Okay, that's all. Okay, next topic, study of pollen germination. See, pollen germination. So about germination, about this topic, we will see practical in biology lab. So here we will discuss that. Generally, whatever may be the species is available around us, from those species, especially from flowers, we can collect pollen grains. See here. This is female reproductive parts. Here, this is stamen. This is called anther. So from anther, if we will press like this way, so this is the anther. Take anther and like this way, if you touch it, if you smear like this way, some hundreds, nearer to 100 pollen grains are fixed, attached to these fingers. Then, so after doing this, take one slide. Okay, after doing like this way, some pollen grains are attached to these fingers. Then take slide like this way, you dust it. If you dust it, if you press like this way, all the pollen grains will land on the stigma. Use sucrose solution. Sucrose solution. A few drops of sucrose solution, place it. Few drops of sucrose solution, place it. Put a cover slip. Keep it aside for about 30 to 60 minutes. Actually, in books, they given 15 to 20 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. But within 10 to 15 minutes, even one pollen grain also will not germinate. If we will keep this test tube about 60 minutes, then one pollen grains started to germinate. Okay, like that. So after 1 hour, if we will observe this drop under low power magnification lens, low power magnification lens, if we will observe, low power magnification lens means what? From the compound microscope, so low power lens will be there in that. Through that, if you will observe, 1 or 2 pollen grains will start germinating. Those germinated pollen grains are appeared to be like this way. Like this way. Some like this way. Some are. This is called pollen grain. This is called pollen tube. Like this way, we will see. So after 60 minutes, they will start 1, 2, 3 like that. If this is sucrose solution, instead of sucrose solution is available in laboratory. Instead of using this, if we will prepare sugar solution from the home, whatever maybe the sugar is available, in that sugar solution, if we will use some amount of water or distilled water, that is called fresh medium. So in the fresh medium, so more and more pollen grains are germinated and appears to be, the slide appears to be like this way. For preparation of this slide is 3 marks. Here something calculation will be there. How many we have taken? 25. Out of 25, how many germinated? 5. Like this one calculation will be there. Okay. So for that calculation, 2 marks. Totally 5 marks. 5 marks is given in final practical examination. Same. Okay. So whatever may be the available flowers in that particular season, generally we'll do practicals in March month. In that March month, whatever maybe the flowers are available, those flowers we will give. Generally in that March month, hibiscus available. Hibiscus always available. Vinca rosea, Nitya Pushpa, local name, Nitya Pushpa. Okay, Vinca rosea, English name. Vinca rosea, hibiscus. These are very commonly we will do this experiment in our laboratory. When offline classes starts, this experiment we will do in our biology lab.